Welcome back to the Rough Country Garage. In this video, we'll document the installation of the rear tire carrier and bumper from Smittybilt. I'll also explain why we ended up not using Rough Country products. Enjoy! Alright, what's up YouTubers? Back in the garage again today on the old TJ. We're going to be installing our Smittybilt bumper and tire carrier, and I'm curious to see how this is going to go because when I bought this Jeep, it came with a homemade, pretty sturdy, very nicely made homemade rear bumper, but they had removed the majority of the factory hardware, so I don't have a whole lot of hardware. Now, in doing research on installing this bumper, I've noticed there's not a whole lot of good videos on YouTube. And everybody keeps talking about having to drop the gas tank in order to get to a couple of the major component bolts because I will be using my trailer hitch. And the reason that I chose this bumper over Rough Country is because Rough Country's bumper is not tow rated, doesn't list a tow rating. This one does. Says as long as you mount it correctly, then it is tow rated. And I do pull a trailer with my Jeep. So we'll be doing it correctly, and got a couple of ideas. I'm not going to drop the fuel tank. I just don't think that it's necessary. I think that we can work around it. I hope we can. But again, we'll see what we come up with. So stay tuned. Let's see what we get into. So the first thing we got to do is get this thing mocked up. The way we're going to do that is set the bumper up on some jack stands. About a little music, y'all think, huh? Don't worry, we'll edit some of this out. Hardware included in the package. Let's check it out. Alright, so first off, these little backing plates are going to go between the bumper and the back of the frame. These will go into the back side of the frame. Let's see if we can't get a little closer here. So I've got a bend in the back of the bumper here that we're gonna have to fix first. All right, back to it now. So I've got a little bit of a bend in my cross member here. So we tried to straighten that out as best we can. Doing this by ourselves with a set of jack stands. That's a challenge in itself because this bumper is actually really well built, very, very sturdy. So let's see what we get here. not as hard as it looks, just doing it by yourself. Trying to get the first bolt started. And again, we're just going to get the bolt in. We're not going to tighten it down at this point. Sweatshirt's gonna have to come off. We're having fun doing this install by ourselves. Problem that we run into is my cross member is bent, and so in order to get it started, it's been a challenge, to say the least. We're making a little progress now. Again, in the kit, it doesn't tell you which bolts to use where, but these are the small bolts, using a lock washer and a regular washer to get this. I gotta tell you, very pleased with the quality of this bumper. Freaking heavy. And believe me, I'd rather use another choice one right there. But it's very heavy. The jack stands are helping, but not much. I would much rather have a larger human being helping me here. And true to form, the instructions, it's one of the things I read about the Smittybilt products. The instructions are not very detailed. That, however, is not a huge deal. But with these bolts right here, the body mount does make it difficult to get a handle on it. Now, again, we're not tightening these down, we're just snugging them up. But I can tell you this top bolt is a challenge to get anything on it with that body mount being in the way right there. So, you know, you're having fun just with a turn here and a turn there. But it is doable, it's just very tight. All right, so now, as noted in the instructions, I'm gonna be using my bumper to do towing. Got a tow rated hitch right there. So we had to drill another set of holes right here. This will be fun to try to get all this in here, but we're gonna do our best and see what we got. There is all sorts of stuff in the way, including my jack stands, but at least that part's mounted now. So we're gonna see what we can do with those, and y'all just keep watching. We'll see what we can do. Also note over here, there's another set on this side, and again, it says to drop the fuel tank in order to access those, but I'm gonna do everything in my power not to do that. Don't know how that's gonna work, but we'll see. All right, time to get the creeper out. And I'm gonna see if I can get my hands up in here. We'll try to do this without dropping the fuel tank. See it. Let's see. Let me get my light. Okay, a little light here will help. I believe we have some success there if we can find the a long socket here. All right. I do my own stunts. Gotta tell y'all too, just bought these new Icon tools from Harbor Freight. Very pleased with this 90 tooth and my new swivel head sockets. So we're gonna put these little suckers in here and see what we can get. Okay, going for bolt number 2 now. This one will be fun, because it's at the bottom. I got it in there, just couldn't get it started. Patient. Got it started, boys and girls. Okay, so up in this little gap area here, make sure you can see it, up in this little gap area here is basically where the bolts come through on the back side of this bumper. And there's barely enough room to reach your hand up in there, but you can do it. I did it, and I got fat hands, and I'm not skinny at all. And get those nuts started, and then I just used a long extension straight from here and got those bolts tight. This is where, when it comes packaged, this has a piece of rubber on it, And that's what I used up top there. And boy, it really destroyed that lock nut, didn't it? That's not good. So we'll tighten that up and fix it. But now this side here, there was not going to be any room. So if you can see here, what I did was I cut a notch out. Basically, I just took a large drill bit and drilled 3 holes across here. Didn't really feel like taking the grinder to it, although I did eventually take the grinder to it, but I don't know if you can see it, but there's the bolts, okay? And like I said, me towing with this Jeep, I did not want to not have those done. So that's why we secured all the connections for this bumper on here. And it's very secure, it's not going anywhere. So anyway, that's my review of the Smittybilt classic rear bumper. Oh, I'm getting old. With the tire carrier, and like I said, I'm quite pleased with it. I think it looks fantastic. I think it looks great, actually. All in all, I installed this by myself, and it took 3 hours maybe, and that was with the struggles of getting those bolts in. But anyway, like I said, very pleased with it. Okay, so I'm gonna come back in and fill in some gaps here. This is the finished product. That's what it looks like when it's all done. And came across a couple of problems that Smittybilt has never addressed. And I'm gonna take a minute here. So let me shake the tire. So you can see it's pretty quiet right now. When I first installed it, it was not. And so what I did was found out when you first do this thing, this is just metal on metal, and the bottom of the clip is metal, and man, it rattled like hell. So when the thing comes packaged, these are actually on the underside of the bumper, and I'll show you where they came from. Just a little piece of rubber that goes on the edge of that angle and kind of butts up against this. But I'll show you, take that thing off. I'll let you hear how loud. So that's what you would hear going down the road when I first installed it. Came back and put that little piece on there and shaking it now, and you can hear that's just that little piece of rubber. So why they don't do that from the factory, I'll never know. But anyway, getting these bolts in here so that, because like I said, I do use my tow hitch to pull a trailer, and so I wanted the bumper completely fully bolted. So you got the one bracket here. You can see that barely, sunshine, sorry. So that bolt there's 2 bolts on the other side, and there is 1 bolt underneath that goes into the frame. Same thing on this side. Okay, so there, they come with the backing plates, and then the 1 bolt under there, and again 2 more bolts here. So just again in summary here, the installation was not terribly difficult. It can be done by 1 person. You can do it without dropping the fuel tank, even with fat hands like mine. Absolutely love the finished product. I'm running a 35-inch tire on there, and it fits perfectly. And once we address the rattle issue, we have no more rattles. So that's it. So I just want to thank you again for tuning in to Rough Country Garage. Make sure you like and subscribe to the channel, and we'll keep putting up as good a content as we can come up with. Thank you again, and come back.